Hey DJ, let's be resolute in this new year and play that music. Ah, Ari, it's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you too. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Happy New Year. Can you believe it's 2026 already?
I know.
And it's already January 7th. As of this recording, it's January 7th, 2026. So I feel like New Year's Day was just like yesterday, but apparently it's been days ago now. So,
I know.
and
It's
you
crazy.
celebrated your birthday yesterday.
I
Happy,
did.
happy belated
41.
birthday. 41 years young.
I know. I was like a little depressed yesterday. I was like, I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure
Well,
about this.
we also have the added bonus of our birthdays being in winter because mine was a few days before that. And I had a similar, kind of like an existential dread about birthdays. And I'm like, oh, I need to.
Like, I'm getting older. Oh
It's like,
God.
yeah, I'm getting older. The world's getting more dystopian. What is happening?
Exactly. That's honestly it. It's like, what kind of world am I living in? Like, am I gonna survive this, like, in
Yeah.
my old age? Like, how is this gonna be when I'm, like, 70?
Well, it's interesting because I don't know, like, for those of you who forgot or unaware, Ari and I went to college together like 15 years ago at this point.
Oh god, that long ago?
Yeah, hearing that number really makes me feel like I'm Rip Van Winkle. But like, I feel like back then, like, there was just such a deep well of optimism about the future.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know about you, but as I've gotten older, like, things have gotten like, there have been good things that have happened, but, like, I feel like in the last 8 years, it's been, like, this continual deluge of, like, what new world event could possibly happen, you know? And I know at the beginning of the year, I was just like, "2026, a new chapter is starting. We're turning a page to a new chapter. It's gonna be great." And I'm not saying that it won't be, like, I'm sure there will be some elements, but when we get to the current event snapshot today, everyone, I think that you will get a pretty good idea of why we are starting the episode the way we're starting it.
I don't know,
So,
I was kinda hopeless in my undergrad because as I was graduating, that was, like, the beginning of the Great Recession.
this is true. Well, I feel like economically, we were, like, not feeling optimistic, but socially, I feel like there was a lot of, like, momentum. Does that make sense?
True, because Obama was became president, and I remember feeling a lot of hope that way, like, that he was gonna save us.
Mhm. Yeah. No, I feel that way too. So, well, okay, before we delve deeply into the things that are happening right now, how has 2026 been for you thus far?
Well, I talked about this in the back room. So there were protesters near my apartment, that were protesting the anniversary of the insurrection because my birthday is the anniversary is my birthday is January 6th, which is the anniversary of the insurrection. It happened on the insurrection. So, protesters were near my apartment, like,
Mhm.
on the street, and so I was going to the gym to, go use, some of their, like, premium memberships because I just updated my membership, and so I honked at them in, like, solidarity, and there were police and ICE across the street, and the police started following me, and they were running my plates.
Ooh, that's scary.
I know.
That is so scary. No, like, it's gotta be wild at this point to have a birthday on that day because can you believe that's been 4 years ago now?
Well, did you hear what happened in Grand Rapids? So there was a protester, there was snow that was covering the sidewalk, so she was doing an interview on the street and she
Mhm.
got arrested.
Yeah, it was on, like, live camera too. I did see that on TikTok. That was disturbing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened just 30 miles west or east of where I live.
Mhm. Yeah. No, it's we are living in some pretty unprecedented times.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't really think I've experienced enough of 2026 at this point to make a judgment on it because since I've been on holiday break, I've just kind of done nothing but lost myself in, like, being lazy and being creative, so and, like, the last couple of days, I've been tuning into the news because I my therapist told me, like, throughout late December, kind of, like, around the holidays, because things were stressful around the holidays, she was like, "I want you to avoid social media if you can, avoid politics, and then, like, maybe after the new year, kind of, like, peek back into it," and, of course, peeking back into the politics, it's like
Dumpster fire.
cacophony of cluster you know what, so
Yeah.
well, do we want to do our show mission statement?
Ooh, it's my turn.
It's your turn.
Okay. We live in a dynamic society where social media shapes us by creating greater opportunities for connection. It has led to a developing understanding of the adversity many marginalized communities face, the powers causing the adversity, and those who act as bystanders as atrocities take place in real time. Our goal with this show is to make connections and have challenging conversations about social topics, current events, pop culture, and art. Together, let's weave the threads of understanding with what privilege we have in order to learn, educate, and create in a world that's growing.
Mm. I hope that people as you listen to this episode, I hope people really take that statement and sit with it, right? Because the events of the past few days have really brought me back to when we started this 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago at this point, and we started this show when the George Floyd murder happened and the subsequent protests and, the movement that happened as a result of that horrible event. And I feel like every season we've really tuned into like what's been happening sociopolitically, right? Because we've seen this trajectory where powers that be are increasingly creating division, I would say, like especially between privileged voices versus marginalized voices. And in the span of what, 7 days in 2026 so far, it's been like this one wild thing after another that's been happening, and it's made me kind of cling to this message a little bit, be like, "Hey, like, even though we are riding all of these rapids, even though, like, this is horrifying to witness, we need to take time and talk about these things too," right? Because how do we work toward preventing history from repeating itself if we don't talk about these things?
It's true. It's like how do we incorporate the bad things that happen on a smaller scale? Like how do we heal from the bad things that happen in our lives and incorporate like what's happening on a larger scale in our own lives, and like how do
Mhm.
we heal from the big scale stuff, and like how
Yeah.
do we move on from those things.
Absolutely, and well, and the thing is, like, our first episode 5, 6 years ago at this point, we were very much acknowledging the fact that we have the privilege of not being impacted directly by a lot of these different things, especially that we're gonna talk about tonight, right? And I think it's important for those of us with varying degrees of privilege to be able to realize that we may not be healing from the same things that other people are healing from, especially if they have experienced these atrocities directly, right?
I think with the spheres of influence, though, it's hard to not feel affected by everything that's happening, though.
For
Um,
sure.
and that when it comes down to it, it's like it's we talk about this in DBT. It's like spheres of control. It's like what can you control in your own life as far as like what to do, and so what can you do to control what's happening on that larger scale?
Ugh, yeah. It's interesting because I feel like I literally just talked about this with my therapist recently. But no, it's true. It's absolutely true. And I think maybe in some way we feel as though we develop some means of control, at least a control in the sense that we're trying to wrap our heads around what's happening, right?
Mhm.
It may not be a lot of control over the situation, but it's our control of the perception of the situation, right? So,
Right.
well, with that being said, I just wanted to preface with that before we talk about our current event snapshot, because we have a few items that we want to touch on. So, Ari, what is the first major thing that's happened in the last few days?
It's a doozy. So the United States has invaded Venezuela, supposedly over reasons. I do we even know the reasons? They kidnapped the president, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife, Celia Flores, and took them as prisoners of war. Um, and they have started to go after their oil. Um,
Mhm,
but my mom was saying that the reason why they had attacked them was because of fentanyl ships or something, or that they were trying to
mhm.
control fentanyl coming into the country. And I was like, that doesn't even make sense. Like none of that makes sense.
I feel like there's a lot of like smoke screens happening with the motivating factor for Venezuela, right? There was an interview featuring Marco Rubio, and they were basically pressing him about what happened, and they were like posing some very salient questions about like why is this even happening. And Marco Rubio responded, and I quote, "We have a quarantine on their oil. That means their economy will not be able to move forward until the conditions that are in the national interests of the United States and the Venezuelan people are met." End quote. So, like, I don't know, when I heard that, it sounded so ominous to me because it sounded very colonizing. It it just left a really bad taste in my mouth.
It sounds like they're holding them hostage
Because of oil, right? Like,
because of oil.
well, and the fact there were, like, a couple of speeches that were done recently by President Trump, right? Where, like, the focus of the entire conversation seemed to mostly be on the economic importance of the oil, not the fact that they did technically go in and disempower a dictator, right? There are a lot of Venezuelans celebrating that, Maduro was arrested because he was oppressive, but then again, it brings the question of like, and a lot of people on both sides of the aisle often pose this question of like, are we to be in the position of policing the rest of the world?
And that's been our problem all along is are we the world police force?
Mhm. And and I know that, like, if I were to ask, like, what gives us the authority to do so, I know that they would respond with, like, "We have the most powerful, force behind us. We have the strongest economy," right? And, there's, like, this list of things that they go through that's like, here's why we are most important and can make these, huge overarching decisions," and it's just like, we're talking about people, like, we're not like, I get economics are important, but we're talking about people being impacted.
I always go back to Star Trek. It's like, you know, just because we have the means to do so, should we?
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's like how in the early days of space flight, the Spock's race, they didn't help us figure out space flight or travel.
Oh, yeah. Mhm. The Vulcans, yeah, no, it's interesting because 'cause I'm watching Star Trek Enterprise right now, which is the prequel to the original series, and there's so many things about, like, how they started formulating their thoughts on colonization and, like, what that looks like, and they had to, like, create parameters, right? And I'm just like, why are we, what parameters are we adhering to when we are just without congressional approval going into some other sovereign territory and attacking it and doing whatever we want, right? I don't know. It just feels it gives me very much echoes of the early 2000s.
Mhm. Absolutely. With
Yeah.
the whole mission accomplished thing, and then we ended up spending how was it? We just in 20 when did Biden end the war in Iraq? Like 2021,
I think it
2022?
was around that time, yeah.
We've
Yeah.
been there for 20 years and we just ended the war in Iraq. And we were out of war for maybe 2 years, 2, 3
Well,
years.
and Trump has literally said that we are essentially occupying Venezuela. And it's just like,
Here
like,
we go again. Here we go again.
yeah, yeah. So, and of course, on top of it, there have been continued imperialistic comments that we've heard, such as talking about taking over Greenland for its strategic value.
Yeah, Marco Rubio said it was our interest to purchase Greenland, but if that doesn't work, we'll invade.
And Denmark has been very like adamant about like, hey, we are a NATO nation, like we are our own sovereign territory. Why are you making threats to an ally? Right.
Yeah, it belongs to the people.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's like if some other country came in and said, "Hey, we're gonna take New York. We're
Yeah,
just
and
gonna we're just gonna
we
take New York."
we absolutely would not let that fly. Like we would be very upset, and understandably so.
Or like if Canada was like, "You know what? Michigan is just ours now."
Right. Right.
Although I might be okay with that.
I At this point, right? But yeah, like so there's just been like these continued comments like about hinting toward colonialism, and it's so unsettling. I mean, when you think of the history of our nation and how it is just formed on like the imperialistic power of colonialism, it's like you would think we would learn from those mistakes, right? But here we are again having the same conversation, being like, hello, like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Well,
So,
yeah, just and you were talking about that the colonialism, just the I mean, it's just like Trump has like a little map on his desk and he's just like throwing darts at it and it's just like, where are
it's
we
like, oh,
invading today?
there's resources here, maybe. Let's do this. It's like, no, that's not how this works.
He has like a little to-do list like invading Greenland, invade Venezuela. And you know what? He's because his time is running short.
Well, at this point, anything to distract from the Epstein files too, but
Yeah, that's
hey.
true.
So, what other things have been happening on the current event snapshot?
I don't know what it is, but the last couple years, it's like, do we have to start with a fire? Because last year we started with the LA fire, and this
Mm.
year there was a Swiss dance club fire.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah.
And so, and what was really horrifying is people were dancing in this Swiss club and they were taking video, and here there is like flames going up the walls and like up the ceiling, and they're just like taking video of this, like, and not going to the exits. And so then it got so bad that people started burning up alive and they're like dying in this dance club and they're just like not leaving. They would rather get the video of them like getting the fire than leaving.
Wow. Yeah, that's unsettling. No, you're right though. Like it does seem like every year there is some sort of like fire related horrifying story, right?
But
And see,
it was so unsettling that they like got they were taking pictures and video of this fire and they were like, we're just gonna dance the night away, like no sense of urgency, like
mhm,
uh
yeah. No, and I don't really feel like that story was covered as extensively as it should have been in the news.
yeah, it was really sad. I and
Yeah.
like dozens of people were killed and like it was horrible. It was terrible what happened. And I f- it made me feel really bad because like, it's just, do we have to start with fire? I just don't want to start with a fire at the beginning of the year.
No, me neither. So, and I think so another major current event that happened today specifically in Minneapolis, there was a 37-year-old woman who was killed by ICE at a protest. Her name was Renee Nicole Good. She was a poet and a writer, and she was I the video was circulating too, and I saw the video and it was very disturbing. And essentially, like, this person was attempting to leave the protest in their vehicle, and an ICE agent just released rounds into the driver's window of the vehicle, killing this person.
Yeah.
And it's, of course, it's caused like a pretty huge like storm of commentary and discussion on the internet, because like obviously people have been really upset over this tragic event, and it's really unsettling. And
It's just that ice seems to be everywhere now. Like, and the fact that I've seen it in my own community makes it like that it's like they're everywhere now.
Mhm,
They're all over the place. And like are they even police? Are they just like vigilantes?
mhm, right. No, it's so true. And of course, like there's been statements released accusing this person of being a domestic terrorist for driving a vehicle in a protest situation. Um and that the agent was defending themselves. But if you watch the video footage, like the video footage is pretty clear. Like it speaks for itself. So I really hope that, I mean, I my thoughts go out to this person's family and friends, because it's horrifying for anything like that to ever happen. And again, so we talked about this earlier, the fact that we've had so many major events happen right in our faces like this, um, on the internet. Like it's wild that like you can just pull up TikTok or whatever and just see these atrocities happening in real time, right? So Um, I'm glad that we gave some space to it, because I feel like we need to realize the gravity of what's happening right now for sure.
And this is just a small snippet of everything that's happened. And this is just, again, day 7.
Mhm. Well, the thing is, like, and I think I said this in last month's episode, we would need like 5 or 6 episodes to really dedicate to talking about everything that's happened in the last year alone, right?
Mhm.
And that's a modest number. That
Yeah.
is a modest number. So,
Yeah.
um, well, that was our current event snapshot. The rest of the episode, we're going to focus a little bit more on talking about 2026 and some more like goal related, like kind of like uplifting things. But we will pose some salient questions that I think are important as it applies to talking about like, health goals and so on and so forth. So, my first question for you, Ari, for 2026 is, do you have any health goals this year, and what are they?
So I I try not to like make a lot of like health goals. So I was like, I'm gonna work out 5 days a week and I'm gonna do yoga 3 days a week. And that was like my resolution for this year, that I just like work out and I do those things. I do have kind of like a little goal that I want to lose like 45 pounds, but I'm not like making that like a resolution. I'm just going to see if I can lose that weight, but I'm not like putting pressure on myself to lose that weight. Like if I
Mhm.
lose that weight, that's like something I want to do, but that's not like a resolution that I'm having.
Right. No, like, I get that, and I mentioned this in the last video that I did too, that I focus more on, like, aspirations as opposed to resolutions, because of, that pressure that resolutions create. There's, like, this impending doom of failure attached to resolutions that I just do not like, because then I just get mad at myself. My goal for 2026 is to work out more regularly as well. The Britt and I got Planet Fitness memberships, so we're like, I've been trying to go like at least 3 times a week. I'm trying to get my step goal every day. That's like a big thing that I want to do. I'm like, because we have a walking pad. I'm like, even if I don't go to the gym, I can, you know, cook dinner, and while dinner's cooking, walk on the walking pad, or I can watch an episode of Star Trek and walk on the walking pad. Because when I'm watching an episode of something, it goes by so quickly that it's like, oh, here I just did 8,000 steps. Like,
That's amazing.
so, I do like another one of my goals is to monitor my diet a little bit in the sense of I really have been struggling with portion control. I overeat badly. Like that is probably my greatest weakness. And I'll probably delve into that a little bit more later, but I am going to work on listening to my body. Like if I'm full, I'm going to be like, "Okay, I'm full. I don't need a second helping of potatoes. Those are usually the culprit. I don't need another helping of potatoes. I'm good. I got this."
I mean, you can have a second helping of potatoes if you're hungry.
If I'm hungry, yes. If I'm not hungry though, like if my body is like, "Ooh, I am satiated. I am great."
Usually, though, do you drink enough water?
No. That's another one of my goals. I'm really bad with Okay, so I do have one of those jugs that like measures out your water, and I'm gonna try using that.
Is it a big jug? Because you
Yeah.
might not drink out of it because it's a big jug. You might want to take like a liter bottle or like a
Mhm.
32-ounce bottle, because you're more likely to drink out of something that's smaller than something that's big. Because
Mhm.
drinking out of a smaller bottle is more like doable because it's like handheld and you're like more likely to grab than a big jug that you have to like pick up and like, oh.
No, that's true. Like it is so much more manageable to have something smaller. So, oh, and another thing, another health thing that is a goal of mine is to take vitamins. I do not take vitamins at all.
The thing about vitamins is that most of your dietary vitamins you can get from food,
Mhm.
and that you don't usually need to take a whole lot of vitamins,
Mhm.
unless you're like lacking. And like usually a blood test from your doctor can tell you whether or not you're lacking.
Yeah. I so last time I did get like a blood panel done, like I had a major vitamin D deficiency, probably
Because you
because
live in
of
Michigan.
yeah. And I had low potassium too, which I was like, I'm like gobbling up bananas. Like
um, yeah, I'm not sure. So you might want to take but usually like a men's multivitamin would help with that.
yeah. I'm gonna probably just take some things and see like how they do. Like I really do need to incorporate more. Like it's funny, like now that I'm in my late 30s, I'm like, fiber is important. I
Oh my
need
God.
fiber. Like,
So for the
how is
holidays,
how is my bowel today?
funny story. So over the holidays, I was like so worried about fiber that I started drinking chia.
Ah,
Like I would take a scoop of chia and I would put it in hot water with lemon or water honey, and I would drink like a full glass of just chia.
did it help?
No,
Oh,
but I was like I'm starting to eat beans like
ooh.
so I've been mixing beans into like vegan crumbles and stuff and like making taco stuff, and that helps a lot.
Beans are so good. Like chickpeas or garbanzo beans.
Yeah, hummus.
I've been putting what I do is I like to make I meal prep those mason jar salads, that you can like just shake up and dump. I've been baking garbanzo beans and so they're crispy because I like
Mhm.
see my weakness is a crouton. Do I need a crouton in my salad? Probably not. But if I have garbanzo beans that give me that crunch, that's what satisfies my love of croutons. The
Yeah.
crunch.
I like
Welcome to
that.
Restitching the Tapestry, everybody. A dietary podcast on
We just went from colonialism to garbanzo beans. I love it.
just a dollop of colonialism with our healthy eating.
Yeah.
No, so no, so it's interesting. Like I do think that going into 2026, I am thinking a lot more about like my body its function, what I'm putting into my body, how it's enriching me, and I don't know, like, maybe I feel like I've not had this level of energy about that in prior years, like, at the
Mhm.
beginning of the year, so
Yeah.
hopefully something comes of it. Um, so here's an interesting question, Ari. Um, with all the food insecurity in the world right now, and there is a significant amount of it, especially considering resources being depleted and the economy and everything like that, how does that affect the way you grocery shop and eat lately? Do you go to the grocery store more or less?
So I tend to plan my shopping. I tend to not always get like the fancy like meat substitutes anymore, and I tend to eat more things that are like shelf stable, like beans.
Mhm,
So that's kind of how I've been working on like the food insecurity, is like getting things that are cheap, like beans, and getting things that are shelf stable that last a longer time.
mhm,
Um, so that's kind of how I've been dealing with that. Like beans and rice and but I still buy substitutes, but I don't eat them as often. I eat a lot of vegetables. I get a lot of veggies and I eat a lot of fruit. I
mhm,
try not to get things that are like snacky foods or like processed foods because those are more expensive.
mm.
I go to my mom's house if I want snacks. She's the one who stocks snacks, but I try not to, like, eat a whole lot of snacks. But my mom will, like, she buys snacks for my nephews, so she tends to have a lot of extra snacks. But, like, I'll go over and have, like, a snack or 2 at her
Mhm,
house. But I don't think she's gonna buy those too much anymore. So I'm just gonna have to that's kind of my goal this year, is to give up snacks, is just like
mhm.
be more healthy and just not eat a whole lot of snacks.
Yeah, I snacking is a weakness of mine too, especially evening snacking. Like, I really think that if I cut out evening snacking, I would experience a dramatic shift.
Well, that's the thing, is I don't keep snacks in my house, so I don't struggle. Like, I want to evening snack, but I just don't, because I don't have anything in my house to snack on unless it's like fruit. And then
Mhm,
so I might have blueberries, or I might have an orange,
mhm.
or but I don't have anything to snack on.
Yeah, I think fruit is probably the closest thing I would have to snack on right now, and so the thing is, like, I try to, like, get that feeling out of the way in the morning, so what I'll do is I'll do, like, some yogurt, one of those Nature Valley granolas that you can just crumble up, and I put it in there, and then I just, like, chop up, like, a couple of strawberries, and I'm like, "Alright." Maybe a little bit of honey, a little bit of honey in there. Um, that usually kind of satisfies those cravings that I have, so but no, it's interesting because, like, I think the question that we just asked kind of leads into the next question as well of, like, how do grocery prices, um affect your health goals, right? Does food insecurity play into health goals? Do you want to lose or gain weight for specific reasons around the economy? So, as it applies to finances and the economy, I think we've we've tried to pivot and focus more on meal prepping and kind of like planning meals a little bit more than we used to, because we used to be like very spontaneous. We would just like open up the fridge or the freezer and be like, all right, whatever we got here, let's do it. Now we're a little bit more calculated in the sense that we will plan out meals. That way we'll have breakfast, lunch, and dinner covered, and maybe like a snack, like a protein bar or something, to kind of get us through. But that's kind of helped us be a little bit more cost effective, especially right now.
Yeah, I feel like, before, it you could afford to like, I could afford to kinda be heavier because, like, I could afford to pay for all the food necessary to maintain my size, and I just can't do that anymore. It's too expensive to pay for the food necessary in order to stay in my body at a higher weight.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
that's why I want to lose weight, is because it's going to cost less money in order to sustain my body at a lower weight.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, and I know that just for me, like if I just like plan it out more and think about it instead of like impulse related things, like that, I tend to be a little bit more successful. And it also helps my mental health as well when
Mhm.
I am able to do that and kind of pre-plan things out just a little bit. But no, so like I feel like and mind you, like we're speaking from such a place of privilege. I am speaking of like a considerable place of privilege right now because I know there are people out there who literally do not have the money to even buy healthy items, right? Because like there are a lot of healthy foods that are also costly, like far more costly than other things. So,
Well, you know, you can eat healthy on a budget.
mhm,
That's not the problem. I know that some people have families and they have to do like emergency meals and things like that because they can't afford certain things, but you can eat healthy
mhm,
if you have a certain amount of budget. Like if you have like a couple $100, you can eat pretty healthy on a budget.
mhm. So would it just be a question of like planning and like learning about it, or
Yeah,
you
it's
kind of
just
like,
meal planning.
mhm. So yeah, I'm hoping that meal planning works out for me. So far it seems to have been pretty successful because it creates a routine. We've noticed a little bit of savings here and there, but in this economy though, like things are so chaotic and unpredictable. I just hope that it's sustainable and that it works, continues to work.
Yeah, I treated myself a little bit this last week. I made mushroom bourguignon. I
Oh,
know it was a little bit too fancy, but the ingredients were so cheap that I was able to kind of afford it. But it was probably like a $30 meal. But so I can spend that money going out to eat, or I can spend it at home cooking.
see, and our treating ourselves is going out to eat. Like we had pizza the other day. Ari, pizza, I think pizza other than potatoes is probably like one, one of my biggest vices. I love pizza.
But the thing about it was, I spent $30 making this meal, right? But it
Mhm.
lasted me like 3 days.
Oh, right. No, see, that's a good point. That's a good point. So another thing that we made recently, we made air fried zucchini fritters.
That sounds delicious. I should look that
It
up.
it surprisingly wasn't that expensive either. Like, well, and I think we do a lot of our shopping at Aldi because Aldi doesn't always have everything you need, which is one of the downsides, but it usually for us has been pretty cost effective. So,
Mhm.
um, I love zucchini fritters because again, it gives me that crunch. For I need a crunch.
The thing about Aldi is if you don't have a Trader Joe's near you, you can usually find a dupe at Aldi.
Hmm.
So if you can't find something at Trader Joe's, go to Aldi because you'll find it for cheaper
I
and
don't
you'll
think
find it the same
I've
one.
never been to a Trader Joe's before.
When
Is
I
it like
lived
Sam's
in
Club and Costco?
So Trader Joe's has like a lot of good snacks and stuff, and they have like really cutesy stuff like that. But they have like really healthy vegetables and things like that.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
they have like really like good produce and things like that. But for a decent amount of price.
Hmm.
But the only difference is that Aldi is a German-based company or a European-based company, and Trader Joe's is an American-based company.
Hmm. I know Trader Joe's is one of those places like Costco where you can get a membership though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
No, not well, maybe. Costco. So Trader Joe's is because Costco is like Sam's Club.
mhm. Okay, so Trader Joe's is not in the same category as those places.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I've never been to one. So we have a Costco membership and periodically will. We get like toiletries and stuff at Costco, and sometimes we'll buy like frozen vegetables and stuff at Costco.
We
Coffee,
just
my
we just got a Costco in my hometown.
oh, listen, I love me some Costco. And
I want to
Costco
get
gas is so much cheaper
I
if you
know.
have a membership. It's kind of wild.
I want to get a Costco membership just so I can try the pizza.
Oh my god, the pizza. It's funny, like we get on this episode and we're like, here are our health goals, and then we just descend into chaos, like pizza, potatoes, I need a crunch. We're only human, everyone.
Let's just talk about food the whole episode.
we're only human.
we're just like little porkers talking about food. Like the food.
So what's the next interesting question that we got?
How does classism play into diet culture? People criticizing those on food stamps, saying that they only have buying healthy food, poverty as it corresponds to overeating and portion control.
Oh, yes. So, no, it's interesting because I was watching like this kind of circulated on TikTok. I think it was around the holidays because there was like this renewed conversation about like food stamps, and there was this creator who was like being hypercritical of people on food stamps, essentially saying like, well, if I had control over food stamps, I would make sure that people would be buying healthy items with their food stamps and not whatever they want. And I'm just like, that's kind of militant.
Well, they kind of are doing that in several states.
Mhm,
What they're doing is they're making it so you can't buy soda, and in
mhm.
certain states you can't buy candy.
Yeah. I just find that to be morally ambiguous because it's like that's really being dictatorial.
Yeah. And there was a lot of videos of people there was a lot of like rage bait videos of people like trying to specifically like Black people trying to buy stuff on food stamps and getting denied at the register.
Mhm.
This was like around like October, November, like when, they cut food stamps. And so people were trying to like, you know, so it was really like, it was like all over my YouTube. Um, and Michigan cut a lot of food stamps for people on disability because I saw that, and my food stamps got cut too. Like I went from having like $100 in food stamps, which because I'm on disability, so I
Mhm.
went from like having $100 in food stamps to like 24.
$100 a month
Yeah, to
to
like
to
24, and like
$24 a month.
yeah, and I was like, well, what can I buy on that?
That Ari, that is wild. Like, in I don't understand how any person in power can justify that.
Because like I had to buy some of my food stamp. Like they expect you to live a month on $100 on food stamps, and I was like, that pays for one of my grocery trips.
In this economy?
Yeah,
And then $24.
yeah, $24. They expect me to live off $24 a month.
I am I'm shook. Like, I'm really shook right now over that. Wow. Well, powers that be, I really think that needs some reform. Just saying.
So that pays for like a couple of my items. I think the last couple of months I've been saving up my food stamps so I can use it for like a grocery trip.
Mhm. But it's sad that you have to do that,
Hmm.
right? So, I really do think that there is a lot of, complexity right now, and I really think that the powers that be claim to really care about grocery prices and everything like that, but I've yet to see any evidence of grocery prices improving at all.
Yeah, I mean, that was what Trump got elected for. People were screaming about grocery prices being outrageous under the
Mhm.
Biden administration, and they haven't gotten better under Trump's
Oh,
administration
in
at
fact,
all.
I'd argue they've gotten worse. So I went to Meijer the other day to get, Deodorant. I had to get some toiletry stuff, so I got deodorant. $8 for a stick of deodorant.
That is ridiculous.
And I'm just like, $8? No, so like it's just I don't know, like and I just want like we need to continue like if that was the energy we had in 2024 when the election happened, we need to have that energy now because clearly no improvements have happened on
Yeah.
that front. So,
Why are trash bags so expensive? It's like $14 for a bag for a box of trash bags.
mhm. I've seen that too, yeah. Trash bags are like, it's just so many day-to-day things are extremely, extremely expensive, so, well, here's an interesting question. This is kind of a hypothetical fun question, right? Do you ever think about the apocalypse or the collapse of society
This is my question.
and your chances of survival? Does that play into your fitness goals at all? What do you think your survivability in the end of the world would be if you survived the first wave?
First of all,
So
I wouldn't survive the first wave, but okay.
you would survive the first
No,
wave.
so first of all, I'm on medication, and that puts me in the I probably wouldn't survive. I wouldn't survive the second wave because um I I need medication to survive.
Mhm.
So if society collapses, I'm doomed.
Yeah.
So when I think about my survivability, like I do not know how to hunt. I do not know how to use a gun. I do not know how to use a bow and arrow. I do not know how to use I can fight with my bare hands. I know how to use a baseball bat. I know how to use certain
You know how to
certain
garden, you know how to plant plants.
I do know how to garden, and I have a hydroponic garden, and I have several those, and I have seeds built up, because I've
Mhm.
been building up my seeds. Although I just took down my hydroponic garden, but I don't have access to a well if the water runs out.
Yeah, but, like, what we would do is we would just be very rural, we would distill some water from, like, a river or something.
That's true.
Well, so I feel like I would probably survive the first wave. Um, my family owns my family up north owns a lot of, like, things that would allow us to hunt, and I have hunted before. I know, super mask, right? I've hunted before. Um, that was, like, when I was a teenager. Like, I was so far in the closet, I was in Narnia at that point, so but, like, I feel like if I needed to hunt with a bow and arrow, I could probably do it. Probably not so much a gun. I don't know if I'd feel comfortable with that. But again, when you're in survival mode, like you gotta do what you gotta do.
Those turkeys would be going down.
I tell people, I'm like, hey, if there is ever like a zombie apocalypse, I'll be your horticulturist, damn it. Like, give me a corner of a field and I will raise us a beautiful garden.
You have you have a greenhouse.
Mhm. So it's interesting because like I always like every year like I do like the seed because you see what I do like I do like the seeds I do like the greenhouse and then we have like a raised garden bed. I always think about like would this garden sustain us? And I don't know if I'm quite yet at feeling confident enough of whether the garden would sustain us because it takes so long to get like the first. I don't get like tomatoes to like the end of June, early July if I'm lucky.
Well, that's why you do winter planting. I did winter planting last year, and I had lettuce within 3 weeks in March.
You did. You know, radishes would be a good one to plant because those grow quickly.
Well, and then you plant garlic early on in the season too, and you get
And
that by like
onions,
August
yeah.
or like by June.
So I will say was super proud of myself. I did get a harvest of potatoes
You
last
got
year.
potatoes?
Yeah,
Ooh.
I bought like those grow bags. I bought like 6 of them and I'm like, let's see how they work. And I ended up getting like a basket of potatoes. I was hoping for more than a basket, but I think it's because I didn't water them enough. That's probably why. But they were just like a basket of like little potatoes this big.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, um,
I have
wow.
another question.
What is
Do
your
you
other
ever look
question?
do you ever look people up and down and think, "Yeah, I could take this guy," or, "Oh, no, this person could destroy me," and does that affect your health and fitness goals when it comes to other people? Like, do you play that comparison game of, like,
Yeah.
"This person's really beefy," or, "This person's really weak and I can take him?"
Sometimes I do. Do you?
Sometimes.
Sometimes I'm like, I could probably benefit from like a self-defense. Like,
Like, I'll be, like, in just, like, mundane situations and be like I'll look someone up and down and be like, "Yeah, I could take him."
do you ever like go into like a room or a restaurant or whatever, and you're like, what are the exits? What's the safety plan in this restaurant?
Oh my god, I do that all the time. I are you, like, hyper aware of exits, and do you always have to sit facing the exit?
Yes, I am very much that way. And I have to be, and I'm just like, okay, like in a contingency plan, like what would we do? Like, what is the plan? Maybe it's our over anxious brains just overthinking, but it's also like fear and like survival instinct, right?
That's why I get so nervous during my yoga class because there's only one entrance and one door to exit and enter the room, and I get so nervous in that class.
Mhm. I do. So honestly, I do think about it a lot at school, especially with like the way things are with like school attacks, right? Like I'm always just like, how safe is this room that we're in? And of course, like we get trained on like what to do, right? But like no matter how much training you get, there's always like this thought in the back of your mind of like, okay, like what is like how would we approach? What do we do? Right? Kind of a thing. No, so I do that all the time. I'm always like, oh, that person, I could either I feel like I could take that person or I'm like, that person's attractive. I don't know which.
I'm glad I'm not the only person that does that.
I feel like many people do that. More often than not. So, well, okay, what does your fitness regime look like right now?
Oh man, so I have a personal trainer. I use an app called Kickoff.
Bougie.
It is bougie, because I pay because I use my dead dad money to I use my dead dad money to pay for my personal trainer. Um, to so because I get a payout for my dad's inheritance,
Hmm.
so I use that to pay for my personal trainer. So it pays for my nutrition coaching and my personal training, which I get 5 days a week.
Hmm.
So she checks in with me every day and she sets up personalized fitness programs for me.
Wow.
Hmm. Like
I
I had to take pictures of my apartment gym so she could set up a personalized fitness regime for me.
like a process that you can go through to like, okay, here's how you maximize the results and stuff like that.
Right, because I was like, oh, I'm going to use my apartment gym in January and February and like into March. So, because she does it in 5 to 6 week segments. So, like, I'll be doing like the same routine for that long.
Hmm.
So, with like some variation. So, she was like, okay, well, let me see what your apartment gym has. So, I went through and I took pictures of all of my gym to show her what kind of equipment I had so she could personalize my workouts. And so I'm doing like supersets and stuff with using the equipment that I have in my gym.
Way to go.
I
That's
know.
great. No, so my fitness regime is pretty simple so far. So basically what I do is I will go to Planet Fitness and I don't know if every Planet Fitness is the same, but there is a room that is like regulated like, like oh, what is it? It's like that room where it's like regulated for 30 minutes and like there's like this
Oh, the
red
30
light,
minute
green
quick
light.
exercise.
Yeah, so, like, I will go in that room, and I will spend, like, 30 minutes, like, rotating through, like, the weight machines,
That's pretty good.
and then I'll spend the last 30 minutes on the treadmill. So, usually what I'll do is I will, like, run a mile or 2, or I will, like, do an incline, mile or so, like whatever I'm feeling,
That's a
and
good workout.
it's actually felt really good. Like, and I have seen some results so far. I've been starting to do that since like December. It's interesting because like preemptively leading into the holidays, Britt and I were like, we're gonna like try to work out during the holidays. That way we don't feel so slothy during the holidays. So,
There's also an app if you want to get into weightlifting, that's
oh,
free. It's called, is it called, I thought it was called like heavy. Oh, no, it's called Lifta, Lyfta.
oh, okay.
So if you want to download the Lifta app, it's free and you can download free exercise programs to get into lifting.
Okay, that's a good idea. I might look into that. We currently use a friend's Beachbody on Demand. So, funny thing that's happened at the beginning of this year so far. So our workout area at home is in our basement.
Mhm.
We can't use our basement for that right now because surprise, we got to get mold remediation done.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my
Well,
gosh, it's gonna be so expensive.
so what happened is so we started getting like sick often and it was always after we were working out in the basement.
Oh.
And then we noticed like so our cats had like their litter boxes in the basement and we noticed that the cats started getting like upper respiratory stuff. We've since moved the litter boxes out of the basement and we've like connected with like we had an inspector come in and it's manageable. He told us like, "Oh, that mold has probably been in there since before you moved in and it's just, gradually built up over time." It's not like fatal or anything like that. But it's like not good for one's health. So we got to get that done. So we've been just using the basement for laundry, that is all. So that's that's been fun.
Yeah. Basements are pretty damp anyway. It's not good to go into the basement if you can help it.
Yeah. Well, and we weren't running our dehumidifier like we should have been, I don't think, too. So that probably had a factor. It probably
But it was
played
probably
a
moldy
factor.
before you even moved in.
Yeah,
Like you said.
that's what they said. Yeah. So, no, it's interesting. Well, we have a couple of minutes left. So how about the question of um, what vital things have you learned about your own health and wellness this prior year?
Um, so one of the biggest things that I learned about fitness and dieting and exercise is that it takes a lot to gain weight. It's really easy to lose weight, but it's really hard to gain weight
Mhm.
because you have to eat like thousands and thousands and thousands of calories to gain weight
Mhm.
and like over a sustained period of time. And if you're like relatively active, like it's really hard to gain weight.
Mhm. It really is so much math. Like it is about math, right? Like like there is a ratio of like whatever you put in like calorically, energetically versus what you burn off calorically, energetically.
Like I didn't realize like it took a lot of work for me to gain like 50 pounds.
Mhm.
And so for me to get it off, it didn't take very much for me to lose that weight, like when I really started.
Mhm.
Um, it's just it was so easy to burn off because when you start eating in a calorie deficit and you start exercising and stuff, it just comes off.
Mhm. Yeah. I think so like the one diet that I've done regularly is the 21 day fix. And I think that one, because I mentioned earlier that really my biggest issue is portion control to the point where like I will overeat to the point of like not feeling well. Right.
Oh.
And the 21-day fix allows me to gradually get used to you know, working in a calorie deficit kind of situation. And doing that in conjunction with staying active, like I usually notice that I lose weight pretty well. So,
Have you talked to your therapist about overeating? Because there's a mental component to that.
A little bit, but it's something that I probably should delve into a little bit more. That's not something we've talked about a lot, but it's hinted. It's in the ether. So that's another thing I plan on figuring out this year.
Maybe journal about that and just like when you feel like when you want to overeat, like, and what does overeating look like to you?
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
is it just like eating extra portions at dinner, or is it like really overeating? Because there's a
Mhm.
difference.
It can vary. Yeah, it can vary, I would say. But, entering 2026, like, I don't know, I feel like I've been reflecting a lot and know that, there are things on the to-do list to work on, both mentally and physically, so
Because I would say that you look like a relatively healthy guy. Like I
thank
mean,
you.
you're not at like an unreasonable weight or anything.
I would say I'm definitely overweight, for, like, the average of my height and age, but, like, I think it's definitely manageable, and I think it very much has to do with just me, hunkering down and being like, "Hey, I know what I need to do. I just need to really do it," right?
Well, I think you look good.
I think you look good. We look good. Oh, us and our cringe millennial complimenting. I went down, like, this rabbit hole the other day, and I was just like, "Am I a cringy millennial?" Like,
I am definitely a cringy millennial. You know what? Sometimes it should be cringe to be able to compliment your fellow person.
ri society tells us that it's cringy, but it's not, damn it.
We should allow to say nice things to each other.
Ari, you are stunning.
Donnie, I think that you are amazing, and I think you're wonderful, and I think that you are a handsome man.
Oh, you. Everyone, we are back for another season of Restitching the Tapestry. Woo! I'm so
Woo!
excited. No, so we're feeling the energy. We're ready to take on another year, and we have some really exciting topics that we will be delving into in the next few months. So I hope that you stick around, and I hope that you enjoy our conversation. So, any parting words for the evening, Ari?
If you are looking to start eating healthy, just start at the beginning and go from there. And if you have a resolution to eat healthy or like start dieting, don't be too hard on yourself. Just start a little bit at a time and then just go from there. And just, you know, if you eat a certain amount of calories and you want to go in a deficit, just go a little bit at a time. Don't go too crazy.
Mhm. We believe in you. We believe in you. We love you. Don't forget to comment, subscribe to our channels, all of that jazz. And we will see you next time. Have a good rest of your night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.